Chapter 3. In the realm of impossible possibilities, where magic was as common as a wagging tail and enigma as familiar as an old buried bone, Roadie's path began to twist and knot with another's. A tall, stern figure cast long shadows on the ethereal landscapes. He was a man of frost and storm, clad in a cloak of isolation. His name was Garrod, and he was as intriguing as a never-before-scratched itch. His hair, it cascaded down like silver streams glinting under a harvest moon, untamed as the wilderness itself. His eyes held stories, tales of countless sunrises and sunsets, of victories celebrated in silence and losses mourned in solitude. There was a world-weariness in his gaze, hidden beneath a shimmering surface of amber, as deep and vast as the night sky. And then there were the scars. They crisscrossed his body like a rudimentary map, each mark a testimony to battles fought and won, to the dance with death that he had led again and again. They were the love letters of destiny etched onto his skin, a testament to a life lived on the edge of a sword. Indeed, in a world where swords sang their deadly lullabies and mythical beasts prowled under the cover of darkness, Garrod was a beacon. A sorcerer by calling and a warrior by nature, his presence was as commanding as the crackling energy that sparked off his blade. His reputation was woven with threads of reverence and fear, forming a tapestry as intricate and impenetrable as the magic that coursed through this realm. Their meeting was as unexpected as a rabbit taking flight or a cat turning to alchemy. Roadie, his paws having traced the chalky outlines of this magical world, found himself witnessing an unthinkable clash of titans. His curious eyes took in the sight of the silver-haired warrior Garrod, locked in battle with a Gorgor, a creature of such colossal proportions that it could have used the moon as a jawbreaker. The Gorgor was a monstrosity, an organic cathedral of brute strength and feral rage. Its scales were plates of rusted iron, its eyes twin lanterns of malice that glowed fiercely in the dim light. Claws, sharp and jagged as stalactites, scraped the ground, and a roar escaped its maw, a thunderous growl that shook the very air around them. It was an adversary that inspired both awe and terror in equal measure. Against this raging storm stood Garrod. His form was dwarfed by the beast, but his spirit was as towering as the highest mountain. With the calm grace of an autumn breeze, he maneuvered around the creature, his silver blade glinting ominously under the moonlight. The sight was electrifying, a performance of violence and finesse, a dance with death that had the breath hitching in Roadie's throat. "Jeez Louise!" Roadie exclaimed, his tail instinctively tucking under him. "What in the cosmos is that?" Yet in the midst of this heart-stopping spectacle, what captivated Roadie the most was Garrod's demeanor. It was an alien calm, a serene ocean in the midst of a tempest. The sorcerer moved with a surety and precision that spoke of countless such dances. His every move was imbued with a dogged determination that Roadie found oddly endearing. "His courage is almost as big as that thing's teeth," Roadie found himself musing aloud, his gaze firmly on Garrod. "In fact, I'd wager he's more stubborn than a bulldog with a bone." His words were met with the continued roars and clashes of the battle. But even amidst the chaos, Roadie felt a strange sensation unfurling within him. It was an inkling of kinship, a familiarity that twanged at his heartstrings. The determination in Garrod's eyes, the strength that defied his human form, it was a reflection of Roadie's own resolve. The warrior's dogged spirit, it seemed, resonated with the interdimensional canine more than he could have anticipated. In the aftermath of the Gorgor's fall, Roadie had approached Garrod cautiously, his gaze filled with a strange mix of curiosity and caution. The bulky warrior stood as an unfathomable puzzle for the multiverse dog, an alien canvas marked by cryptic etchings. Despite the immense power he wielded, there was a quiet stoicism about him, a silence that seemed to hum with untold stories. "Garrod, huh?" Roadie started, his canine features contorting into what could only be described as a wry grin. "So, are all sorcerers as grouch-faced as you, or is it just a part of your personal charm?" Garrod's response was an arched eyebrow and a gruff laugh, a sound akin to boulders colliding. "Never met a dog with a sense of humor, let alone one that talks." Their conversations from then on were unique, an intricate ballet of banter and sincerity, a concoction of wit and wisdom, a constellation of oddities that filled the silent nights and bustling days. It was a dance as curious as it was enchanting. Roadie with his interdimensional tales of cosmos and alien civilizations, and Garrett with his accounts of mythic beasts and the realm's mystical dichotomy. In these exchanges, Roadie found something unexpectedly familiar in Garrett's solitude, a resonant frequency amidst the strange, cacophonic melody of this universe. It was as if two lone stars from distant corners of the cosmos had found their echoes in each other. "What a pair we make, huh?" Roadie quipped one evening, his eyes twinkling with amusement. "A canine quantum leaper and a silver-haired sorcerer swapping tales under the starlight. I'd wager this is a first, even for this magic-infested place." Garrett's response was a low chuckle, a rare sound that echoed in the night. "Perhaps, dog, perhaps." These bizarre exchanges, somehow, led to the unfolding of the realm's present predicament. Garrett spoke, his voice a low rumble like an impending storm, of the discord sown by the dominators, their ambitions fracturing the once harmonious coexistence of sorcerers, mystics, and beings of lore. In their shared solitude, a shared purpose was birthed. Roadie found a newfound resolve to navigate through this chaos, and Garrett, a hardened warrior, found an unexpected ally in a dimension-traveling dog. Two disparate entities, bonded by an unlikely friendship, found themselves on the brink of a shared adventure. As the moon's glow waned and the stars blazed unimpeded in the vast canvas of the night sky, Garrett continued to unravel the complex tapestry of the realm's current predicament. The crackling fire between them flickered, painting their faces in a warm orange hue, adding a layer of gravity to the conversation. "In this realm," Garrett began, his gaze unfocused, lost in the labyrinth of the past, "balance is key. Like a set of scales, the sorcerers, the mystics, and the mythical beings have held their respective ends. We sorcerers, we deal with monsters and protect humanity, while the mystics commune with the cosmic forces, maintaining the flow of magic that binds us all." He paused, the fire's reflection dancing in his silver eyes. "And then there are the dominators, an empire ruled not by a sense of justice, but by raw ambition." Roadie tilted his head to one side, listening intently, the flicker of the flames mirrored in his eyes. Garrett's words flowed with the weight of centuries of history and turmoil, painting an image that was as vivid as it was unsettling. "Despite our differences," Garrett continued, "the sorcerers and the mystics have long maintained a symbiotic relationship, each counterbalancing the other. We keep the order, they nurture the harmony. The balance between humanity and the creatures of lore was ensured." Garrett scooped a handful of dirt, letting it sift through his fingers as he spoke. "But the dominators, in their unending hunger for power, saw an opportunity in the interplay. They want to exploit both sorcerers and mystics to tighten their iron grip on this realm and expand their dominion. Their interference is like a boulder tossed into a serene pond, causing ripples that may soon grow into tempestuous waves." A somber silence fell between them, broken only by the occasional crackle of the fire and the distant calls of nocturnal creatures. The truth hung heavy in the night air, a foreboding echo of what lay ahead. "They say every dog has his day," Roadie muttered, his usual banter replaced with an uncharacteristic seriousness. "Looks like this dog has landed in the midst of a cosmic kerfuffle." Garrett chuckled, a low rumble that seemed to momentarily lift the weight from the conversation. "Seems so, dog, seems so." This realm, brimming with magic and mythical beasts, was far more complex than Roadie had initially fathomed. As Garrett painted the picture of the brewing conflict, the interdimensional canine could not help but feel a sense of dread. In the velvety darkness that folded around them, Garrett's story echoed like an ominous drum, creating ripples in the tranquil silence. Roadie, with his ears perked up, felt an uncanny sense of understanding seeping into him. For the first time since his rather erratic multidimensional hop, he truly comprehended the enormity of his situation. His unique abilities had an added depth in this realm. Here, it was a power that could manipulate the very fabric of the world. a tool that was coveted by those who sought dominance. The thought made his tail curl, but not with fear. Instead, it was a sense of purpose that began to form. "Good grief," Roadie muttered, scratching his ear with his hind leg. "And I thought fetching a stick was hard work." Garrett gave a rough chuckle, his steel-gray eyes glinting with a touch of respect. "Destiny doesn't give out free rides, pup. Looks like you're in the thick of it." Roadie pondered the situation, his dog brain surprisingly quick to adapt. Suddenly an idea sparked in his mind, a path that he knew he could tread. It was a responsibility, but it was one he was willing to shoulder. "Garrett," Roadie said, turning to face the warrior, determination flashing in his eyes, "I believe I can help. We need to restore balance to this world." Garrett blinked, his hard gaze softening slightly as he considered Roadie's words. "And why would you do that, Roadie? You could just run back to your own world." Roadie wagged his tail, his eyes gleaming with the joy of a new adventure. "Well, Garrett, for one, it's a heck of a lot more interesting than chasing squirrels. But more importantly," he added, his voice dropping an octave, "if my abilities can make a difference, then it's my responsibility to do so." Garrett was silent for a long moment, his eyes staring into the distance as he considered the canine's words. He knew that Roadie was right. The power to prevent a disaster was not to be taken lightly. With a sigh of resignation, Garrett finally nodded. "You've got guts, pup. All right, let's do this." Under the veil of a star-studded sky, as the last echoes of Garrett's story faded into the night, an unlikely pact was formed. Roadie, the interdimensional hound, and Garrett, the wayward warrior, found their fates intertwined in the most curious of circumstances. As different as two beings could be, and yet each found a kindred spirit in the other, bound by the fabric of their shared mission. Garrett extended a weathered hand to Roadie, his eyes reflecting the solemnity of the agreement. "I've seen more battles than I can remember, Roadie," he said, his voice barely more than a whisper. "But this feels different. More than just another war to win. This is about balance." Roadie looked up at the warrior, his canine eyes shimmering with the reflection of countless stars. His tail, always expressive of his emotions, gave a solemn wag as he responded, "I'm just a dog, Garrett, but if I've learned anything from chasing my tail, it's that balance is everything." In that moment, a peculiar energy seemed to ripple between the warrior and the hound. It was as though the universe itself had recognized the significance of this covenant, sending a shiver through the vast expanses of time and space. The pair, so mismatched and yet oddly aligned, set forth on a journey that promised peril at every turn. They navigated the realm under the silver glow of the moon, traversing ancient forests whispered with magic and crossing tumultuous rivers where water spirits danced. Every step they took seemed to stir the pulse of the land, like a drumbeat growing steadily louder, heralding the arrival of an approaching storm.